Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to my Captain Crypto video. I hope you guys are doing well, and today we're back with another banger PulseChain video, giving you guys the latest and greatest of crypto news. And look at the market today. Bitcoin is up 1.6%, currently priced above $120,000, a few percentages away from its all-time high. And remember, in the past few videos in the last week or so, I've been saying that S&P 500 in its price discovery in its all-time high, making new all-time highs. Same thing with Russell 2000, same thing with gold. It's only a matter of time for Bitcoin to catch up. It is undervalued when you compare it to what Bitcoin leverages, right? So there's that. And you have Ethereum is up 3%, being the clear winner, as has been the case the past few weeks and even months, telling us that we have entered the Ethereum season. We are no longer in the Bitcoin season, which usually happens from the Bitcoin halving event, which is from 2024 April. That's when it happened. It's roughly every 4 years. And then we usually give it a buffer of like 365 days. We are well over that. Obviously it ended around the April of this year in 2025. That was also when we expected the global M2 money supply to start rising up when you align it with Bitcoin with a 75-day lag. If you go back to those videos back in mid-March, earlier March, I've been telling people that we will start seeing the price a trend reversal at the end of March, April time, and that's exactly what happened. And look at where we are today, guys. We've broken our all-time high. It was a successful July, and here we are. In September, we did finish it with a green monthly candle. I am so excited for Q4, for altcoins, for a lot of reasons we're going to cover in this video. We're also going to talk about why is PulseChain not pumping even though the altcoins are pumping, okay? And I'm going to talk about the whole flowchart, right? We need Bitcoin to go first. It's the start of a show. It's no longer the start of a show. It doesn't mean that it's not going to pump. Of course, we're thinking of 150, 160, and maybe even 200K Bitcoin. I've seen some people throw around numbers like 300K. Please be careful, because if you're now just going to keep your take profit at 300K and then it just reaches 280K and you've never taken profits, yeah, you only have yourself to blame for that. So always have a few milestones. Always take profits as the price goes up. And yeah, we're just gonna say that for now. It's not really the topic of today's video. But yeah, we have entered Ethereum season, which is the preceding step before what? Altcoin season. And matter of fact, you can actually break that down even further. The next step before that is the large altcoin caps. Which are things like Solana, for example. Okay, now this is where I'm gonna ask you guys a question. I generally don't know the answer to this, which is, should we categorize PulseChain as a large cap? Okay, because if we go to GoPulse and we look at the market cap right now, it's 577, but that's for a reason, because we're excluding away from the circulating supply. Okay, so if you scroll down, you can see here, include away, the origin address, right? I like to think of the origin address as a secondary burn address because it's a proven concept from the previous, EHEX, from the previous cycle, how the OA never sold. Okay, which is why, because of course, once we include it, circulating supply is, the market cap formula is price times circulating supply. So if we now exclude the OA as if it's burnt, all of a sudden we ended up with a 577 million market cap blockchain, guys, which is crazy. Some meme coins on Solana have a larger market cap than our entire blockchain, right? This blockchain that I've been making videos for around 2 years, guys. Yeah, that's the type of bet that I'm taking. Okay, so the title of today's video is probably going to be around, what's wrong with PulseChain? Psych. I'm going to tell you what's right with PulseChain. Majority of people are always wrong. Minority of people are rarely right. So I want to take the chances to be part of history, to be part of something. I want to be contrarian. I want to be at a place where majority of people are not there yet, where majority of people don't know about us yet. The barrier for entry is not low enough yet. We're not on a centralized exchange. And by the way, just quick in advance, I'm a little bit under the weather, so if I speak a little bit weird here and there, that's my excuse. And it is past midnight. But yeah, I do want to ask you guys, is PulseChain considered a large cap? Generally don't know. So yeah, looking at the price of the Core 7, you can see that things are down. There's also a reason, you never have to resort to reacting emotionally, guys. Okay, there's always a logical answer. One of them I'll tell you right now, right? As we said, it's a preceding step to altcoins. And usually if Ethereum goes up, there is a delay before we can expect PulseChain to go up. So for example, come back in 24 hours or come back in 3 days, okay? Don't dictate whether PulseChain is successful or not just because you're putting it on a short time frame. Zoom out a little bit, because as you zoom out, you're starting to suppress the noise, guys. Okay? Like for example here, if I click 7 days, yeah, fair enough. Things are even more down, because that's kind of been the general trend. Apologies, things are not down. Okay, I looked at the color. Things have been up. You see what I mean? Like I've just reduced the noise. So matter of fact, this is me being short-term price oriented. You got people flipping their sentiments. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, guys, look at this. Bitcoin is up $120,000 in price. Go back a few days ago, the sentiment was very bearish. People were saying, people making threads, right? And they're like, here's why Bitcoin topped. Do you understand what I'm saying? They have no idea of global macroeconomics, which is crazy. Like we're seeing people talk about how we're now rotating into a 5-year cycle, which is fair, because if you look at the PMI chart, I've showed it in a couple of videos back, and I put the sine wave on that, you can see that we've been in the longest bear market. Guys, as crazy as I sound, Bitcoin, the general bull market is only starting, as crazy as I sound. Okay, and before you start judging me, hold on. I'm going to tell you right now. Bears, they sound clever. The bulls, they make money. Okay, I genuinely don't care about being right. I only care about making money, guys. Okay, and within that, yes, I'll give myself accountability checks. Okay, I'll tell you guys, I was wrong. Go back a year ago. I said, oh yeah, we will definitely get an altcoin season around March of this year. We'll definitely going to get an altcoin season around, the second wave at Q4 of 2025, right? So now we kind of shifted it forward. So first wave will be in Q4 instead of second wave. And then second wave can be sometime in Q1 and apparently to Q2. We'll see how that goes, okay? And it's quite simple. Do this as an exercise, right? Put the PMI chart and then put the Bitcoin chart on there. Okay, put them on logarithmic so you can suppress the view of the chart. And then you'll realize every time Bitcoin topped, the PMI was like above 50, nearing its own top. So right now the PMI is under 50, guys. We're technically, the economy is contracting. We're not even above 50 to then think about, have we topped in PMI? So I'm telling you, we're just getting started, guys. We're looking at the federal balance sheet. I'm not going to show you guys now because that's in a separate video. It's just starting to flatline. We're now just starting to have topics about, is this the end of QT? Yet about the beginning of QE, quantitative easing, with the risk appetite. Okay, so yeah, this chart in front of you guys here, I haven't showed it in a long time. This is the others total crypto market cap. So again, everything excluding the top 10 CMC ranking tokens and excluding stablecoins. And you can see here that, my general target is a 1 trillion for others crypto market cap. Now, listen, I'm not here telling you guys to put a take profit, for example, at 200K Bitcoin, and that's it. Because if it hit 190, don't come to me and be like, oh, Kyle, what's going on? This is why what I preach in this channel is to DCA on the way up. We will never know exactly what the top price of Bitcoin is going to be. So for example, with me, I'm going to have milestones, 150K Bitcoin, 200K Bitcoin. Anything higher than that is truly aspirational. And again, one of the rules that I've learned from a whale is to never sell 100% of any bag that I'm holding. Okay, that goes to everything across the board. That's for me. You guys have to decide if that, based on your own individual risk tolerance. Okay. So yeah, you have milestones, and at the same time, let's say I think it's going to top out at 200K. I'm still going to give it a plus or minus, 15 to 20% error percentage, noise percentage, right? Because what if it's not 200K? What if it only peaked at 191K, and my take profit is at 200K, and now I'm sleeping, and then it reaches its top while I'm sleeping, and then now it's down 50% correction, and I've missed. You would have been safer if you were DCAing out as the prices goes up. So keep that in mind, okay? Yeah, and looking at the ETH-BTC ratio, this is a really great sign for the altcoins, which is right now slowly recovering, I guess. Bitcoin dominance is still way too high to even consider that we are in altcoin season. So there's a lot of room for growth, guys, especially for a blockchain that's worth $500 million. Absolutely crazy. And it gets even crazier than this, because Ethereum and Bitcoin is pumping whilst the literal US government has been shut down. This is the second day, and it's estimated to go for another third day, guys. Look at this. The United States government shut down early Wednesday morning, setting the stage for the furlough of hundreds of thousands of federal workers and the shuttering of a slew of key programs and services. Absolutely crazy. And I feel like this might have been done on purpose, because there's a few key data points that we were expecting in the next few days, okay, of which was the new PMI monthly print. Crazy, guys. Like, is life just one long Netflix series? Honestly, one of the reasons why I don't even watch fiction movies, guys. Life is already pretty fictional to me. Like, there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't believe is going on. There's a lot of things that we don't know about. I'm not going to dive deeper into anything more than that. I'm quite happy just speaking about, praising God, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And talking about crypto, I like being in this little world. I'm playing some Clash Royale here and there. Anyways, we're going to quickly see this tweet from Trueflation. Big shout out to them. Here they say, the U.S. government, let me double check my mic is working. Okay. The U.S. government shutdown has taken the Bureau of Labor Statistics offline. Okay. Imagine, guys, during times like these when we were already volatile, we were already at high levels of uncertainty, this is only going to keep increasing that. I tell you, remember, guys, the price appreciates as we climb the wall of worry. Guys, as we climb the wall of worry, everyone, like there's people literally saying, oh, it's going to go down, it's going to go down, it's going to go down. But once you have everyone say we're going to go up, that's where the euphoria, that's where the top actually happens. So I'm really glad we have people that are bearish, okay? And if I see everyone bullish, guys, I might myself make some bearish videos. Okay. This is why I might title this video something like "What's Wrong with PulseChain?" Psych, this video is all about what's right with PulseChain. Okay, so let's read more about this. Here it says, the US government shutdown has been taken, as I already read it. No job reports, which is expected to be today, October 3rd. No job reports. No CPI. No PPI. This is I believe that's the PMI. I'm not 100% actually. And then, yeah, the list goes on. The government has gone dark at a time when clarity is needed the most. Here's the cost of this. The Federal Reserve heads into its October 28th, 29th meeting with little visibility on inflation or employment. Markets and investors lose benchmarks that guide expectations. Businesses and households are left without metrics for hiring, pricing, and spending. Every shutdown chips away at global confidence in the U.S. Commitment to transparent, timely statistics. This isn't a one-off. Shutdowns have happened before and will happen again. Each time the economy risks being left behind. That's why independent real-time data isn't just a better alternative. And they're here to talk about themselves. At Trueflation, we track millions of live prices daily. Excuse me. producing an inflation index that leads official BLS inflation trends around 45 days. That means we don't just anticipate government numbers, we remain a source when those numbers stop coming together. Big shout out to them, right, guys. And we're going further. Inflation is only one side of the equation. We're now building employment data, ensuring labor market insights remain available when the BLS reporting is frozen. Okay, economies cannot afford to go dark in moments of uncertainty. Seeing clearly it isn't an option, it's essential. So yeah, there is that. Moving on to other things. Now, this is something that I just wanted to get out the way, because I've spoken about this before. The Bitcoin top indicator, or the pi cycle, and the reason why it's called pi is because this is the long line, the 350-day DMA. And then you have the short line, which is the 111, and of course the reason why is because this is times 2, and then you divide them, and it's a number around close enough to pi. But that's besides this point. But anyways, this is the tweet here, okay? Or it was actually a comment, yeah, where Will Guru said the bull run is not about to start. It's already effing happened. Okay, Bitcoin went from 16 to 125, which is fair enough. That's a fact. ETH went from 900 to 4.8k. Fair enough. That is a fact. Okay, which is crazy because 4.8k is the previous cycle's all-time high. Okay, so it's not really that much of a wow factor here. XRP went from $0.50 to 3.5. I'm pretty sure that's not, again, it's all-time high. It's a local all-time high, sure. Solana went from 10 to 300. Fair enough. It is like kind of the unicorn of the cycle so far. And if you're still waiting for some magical beginning, wake the F up, guys. This is the type of people that people follow. It's crazy. Look at his followers. $420,000. 420,000 followers. Like, and then he's probably going to cause a lot of people to take profits, have less skin in the game, and then Bitcoin actually goes to 200k. Altcoins, obviously, they do like 100 to 1,000x. Just because people listen to this guy thinking that, oh, higher follower count means that he's clearly smarter. Let me break it to you. No, it's not. Same thing why, for example, copy trading is not that successful. Not every whale just has an inherent skill of finding the best tokens. Sometimes there is luck in that, guys. Okay, and you can't just, if you were lucky once, it doesn't mean that it's going to be deterministic. You're going to be lucky again. Okay, so also keep that in mind. And sometimes, being a good trader is not really a transferable skill, like from if someone was a successful entrepreneur. Also keep that in mind, guys. Anyways, this is the comment from Drew. I don't really know this guy, but he said this. The Bitcoin pi cycle top indicator nears 200k. This means that with almost certainty that 200k will be met before an official top is in. This figure is also expected to rise as the price catches up to it too. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 300k this cycle. Okay, so all of a sudden he's now using these words where almost certainty we will see a 200k Bitcoin because of the pi cycle indicator. Now, the only thing that I wanted to warn you guys here, just quickly, because I do like this indicator for sure. It worked in the previous 2 cycles, right? But guys, in the previous cycle, it only stayed on for a day. When the other cycle, I believe it triggered twice, right? Do you kind of see a pattern here? And it was on for a few days, right? Where the short line, the 111 moving average, was above the longer line for a few days. And then the next cycle, which is the previous one, was only above it for a day, a slither. So you see where I'm going with this? I don't think that we could see a golden crossover, is all I'm trying to say. The cycle, purely because of what? Diminishing returns. This is what the formula doesn't take into account. This is a static formula, guys. It doesn't mutate. It doesn't take into account the principle of the S-curve of adoption, right? So please keep that in mind. So that's why when I see people talk about, 200k, or it might even go to 300k, yeah, that's where I start to just be aware. Like these are, add the plus or minus ranges. That's all I'm trying to say, guys. Okay, please be careful. Just always continuously keep doing your research. Okay, listen. Like this is why I also, when I watch like videos and do research, I also watch people who are bearish about Ethereum, people who are bearish about altcoins, people who are only Bitcoin maxis. I like to get the perspectives of everyone. Okay, and then after that, after I have all these perspectives, then I want to make a decision, an informed, data-driven decision. Okay, not based on hype. Okay, I'm not here. I don't want you guys to watch my videos because I hype you guys up. I do see a lot of you guys say, I believe in PulseChain because, Khaled, you believe in that. And that's, guys, it's an honor, okay, to even be in the same sentence as people like, Dr. Hexologist, our friend Sami, big shout out to him. I hope you guys, you should go vote for him for Influencer of the Year in Binance. By the way, do that. I did it. A big shout out to him. And then, it's a big honor, but guys, please, I want you guys to be independent thinkers. Okay, I'm here showing you guys the tools that I use. Okay, and when I use them, so you can take from it what you want. Anyways, moving on here, a big shout to, give me 1 second. 1 second. Okay, we are back. Big shout to the Prairie Banana. Okay, here's a nice solid tweet. And by the way, big shout to him. He does do live streams here and there. So go watch him. He's a very smart man. Guess what? He's also in our Telegram group chat. So if you caught the 15-day window where I opened the group chat, also the 15 spots, and you're one of the 15 people, consider yourself lucky. When is the next time again I'm going to open 15 spots? I don't even know. I don't even know. I mean, unless you guys want to really demand it, just let me know down in the comments below. I could do that in the next video, but I like to keep it private. But anyways, this is his tweet. He goes, Ethereum had a wild start. It launched on August 7th, 2015, and initially spiked to the price of $2.77, followed by a crash to 70 cents the next day. It subsequently bottomed at 40 cents on October 21st. Okay, so around like a month and a half. And this is, by the way, like Ethereum also did do an ICO. So keep that in mind. In its first crypto cycle, Ethereum pushed up to 1,433 or 3,500x from all-time low. And then he gives us the date to all-time high, which is January of 2018. Okay, this is like a few years from that point. Anyone that caught the bottom with 1K got 2,500 Ethereum. That was worth 3.58 million at that local all-time high in January of 2018. Absolutely crazy. From $1,000 to 3.8. That's crazy. What was I doing at that time? Oh my God. Yeah, Ethereum has experienced 2 full crypto up cycles and 2 full down cycles. Here's a parallel to PulseChain. Okay, so again, if PulseChain goes to the same path that Ethereum did, because what I like to call PulseChain is the younger brother to Ethereum, right? And history does often rhyme. If we're going to be the next, the next greatest or the next hottest Ethereum layer 1, just like how BNB was as well, right? And I mean, BNB is basically the top layer 1 fork of Ethereum, and I'll be super happy being the second best, right? So I feel like we actually perfectly fit into the fourth like blockchain. Like that's our sweet spot, right? You got Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, PulseChain. Like, what is the competition that we can be under that? XRP? Nah. Base chain is a layer 2. I mean, what's keeping it up is basically Coinbase. But I don't think it's that much hyped up. Like being a layer 2. Yeah, I just don't like layer 2s as much as layer 1s. For a lot of reasons, right? Because they're kind of like leeches from Ethereum. Yes, the whole point was to, take the load off of Ethereum, and then you have the whole roll-ups and sharding that happens. But at the end of the day, I do feel like it does hurt Ethereum itself in the long term. like everyone made the whole thing with, oh, you know, gas fees such a big deal. But guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you ask majority of people, if you ask them, would you rather have $100 transaction fees but a 10x in Ethereum's price? They're gonna say, yeah, I will pay the $100 for a 10x in Ethereum's price, right? People don't really care that much about, oh, you know, so expensive gas fees. No, they won't care about that, guys. If the number goes up, it's gonna attract people regardless. They're paying for that. It's the land of whales. And watch what's gonna happen when PulseChain does its thing. We have a great clip from Richard Hart in a second. So he continues to say this. Here's the powerful PulseChain. PulseChain launched on May 12th, 2023. I thought it was May 13th. So I'm not 100% sure. May 12th of 2023, the initial spike was up to 30. So again, 3x the SAC rate. So we did a 3x from SAC rate, okay? It subsequently plunged to 4017 on March 31st of, again, this year, when M2 did its major correction, global M2 money supply, everything. Like, the global macroeconomics, guys, is a major factor that affects crypto and everything else. So this is no coincidence. No coincidence. Anyone that caught the bottom and bought 1,000 worth of tokens got 58.8 million. If PulseChain were to do the same exercise that Ethereum did in its first cycle, the holder that managed to snag 58.8 million tokens at the bottom would be holding $3.58 million at the all-time price of 6 cents. Crazy. And I think this is possible when you take into account the sacrifice funds. It's only a question of confidence in you to be patient, to hold up until that moment. Or are you going to be shaken out? PulseChain has experienced 0 crypto up cycles and 1 crypto down cycles. We launched in the middle of the bear market. That is a feature. That is not a mistake. Moving on to a quick lesson here from CZ. Says, watching BNB go from 10 cents in ICO price 8 years ago and today it's $1,000 is something words cannot explain. I, not representing any entity or title, because again, he's no longer the CEO of BNB, of Binance, as just a community member and a BNB holder. Love it. Thank everyone in the BNB and crypto ecosystem for your support. We had our challenges along the way, but we worked hard, we built, and we held. It's truly a community effort. This is just the beginning to the next 10,000x together. He's using the same terminology as Richard Hart. 10,000x? It's very specific. Guys, 10,000x. That's what EX did in the previous cycle. That's what Richard Hart said in a tweet, a month ago, which I highlighted in the previous video. Go watch it. And we have another tweet here. The larger your portfolio becomes, the less you're actually supposed to do, in my opinion. You're gate kept by liquidity a lot more often. You stop going for high risk, high return setups because you simply don't need it anymore. Every percentage gain yields a larger return. You've earned the ability to be extremely picky and choosy with which trades you take. Risk curve should be inverse of portfolio growth. This is, again, good advice in general about being an investor or even a trader technically. So lovely stuff. Anyways, moving on to that clip that I just mentioned, that I teased. This is the clip from Richard Hart, guys. It will blow your mind, especially if you're new to PulseChain and you've been exposed to the PDAI narrative or the PWBC narrative, and you've seen a lot of people on Twitter talk about, Richard Hart doesn't support it. If Richard Hart called it stupid, the same way he declared EHEX is dead, when EHEX is basically one of the biggest winners in the Core 7 ecosystem in the last 90 days. Look at this, guys, plus 65%. When everything else is okay, PX is actually runner up close, and then everything else is down. Well, Pulse is doing good, PulseX is doing good, INC is slightly down, PDAI is down, and PWC is slightly down. EHEX has been the winner, right? When Richard Hart said that it's dead in March of last year, what was the real answer? Crazy. So let's see what he had to say here. talking about what makes PulseChain unique, its unique selling point.
So here's an interesting question for you. This will be fun. This will be really fun. PulseChain is fucking interesting because it does things that have never been done before. I think this will blow your mind. People think that Tether is worth $1 because it often trades for $1 on exchanges. But we know that for a while, Tether was fractionally reserved because they had about $600 million seized from a bank.
Right.
And who knows what the real fractional reserve is? Nobody fucking knows.
Yeah.
So, but it still traded near $1. And then that makes you wonder, what if it was 100% fractionally reserved? Would it still trade for $1? At what point might, I don't know. So when PulseChain forks Tether, which has admin keys, they could just invalidate all the coins. But their users would probably sue them for doing that because I think that those Tether, even though they're not going to be redeemable for anything, I think they're going to have a value on PulseChain. I just have no idea what it is. So it's going to be so crazy to see whether stablecoins that have no backing at all actually have a value and what that value is on this new chain.
Oh, and it's going to be an interesting experiment.
Yeah,
it will be. And this was the bit that kind of got me, was when somebody was saying that, hey, they're going to, we're going to duplicate the entire state of Ethereum, duplicate all of the ERC20 tokens, and suddenly you're going to have double. And I was like, well, wait a minute, you're not really going to have double. You're going to have, if you've got 1,000,
we'll have different parameters,
Tether ERC20, and you've now got 1,000 PRC20 Tether. Those PRC20 Tether are going to have an entirely different value to the ERC21 for the reason you just described.
For sure,
in that
100%.
It's a totally different price discovery, and because the PRC20 tokens are not used anywhere else, they're going to be worthless. And then,
I don't think so.
That's going to be the problem.
I don't I got a few tricks up my sleeve. I got some more cool shit coming. I'll tell you about.
Well, you may well do. Everybody does. But,
No, I have more than most. I'm the founder of a $50 billion cryptocurrency.
Ooh, he goes, I know a little bit, just a little bit about how to make money, how to attract people's attention, how to market, how to maybe become a millionaire, or actually add another zero, how to actually add 3 zeros, how to become a billionaire. He just started speaking about the P-stable narrative, guys. The three biggest stables, PDAI, PDAI, PUSDT, PUSDC, right? And there's a few others, I'll give a shout out to, but it depends, guys. You have to do your own research and stuff like USDP as well. But it has way less liquidity, so also keep that in mind. And you have Treasury Bill, which is part of the Atropa ecosystem. And there's even FDIC. I did have someone comment, by the way, where they asked about, what is the contract address for PDAI, because there's so many of them. So please keep that in mind. If you typed PDAI in Dex Screener, you might have, so if you typed PDAI here in Dex Screener, you might have a lot of fake ones. So if you go to PDAI here, okay, you might have, look at this one. The good PDAI, that is not it. There's a bunch of other ones. And for some reason, PDAI, the actual PDAI doesn't show up. So what you need is the unique specifier, right? The unique identification ID for it, which we call contract address. And another great place to source that from is GoPulse. Just type in the search bar, type PDAI, right? And then it will give you this chart, and then you can just click on this to get the contract address, which ends with 1D0F. You go back here, you paste that contract address 1D0F, and then you can see this is actually a verification that it's a PRC20, that it forked from Ethereum, because Ethereum has the same contract address. How can they both exist? Is there no collision? That's a great question. Purely because it's two different blockchains. So if you think of them as two different spreadsheets, two different databases. So they're kind of agnostic of each other. Okay, but yeah, you can see right here, bingo. The market cap 170 something million, and liquidity is 105, and the volume looks legit. And yeah, you can confirm that by, again, clicking on it, scrolling down below slightly, and then you can see that the pooled, the DAI contract here is 1D0F. And also a big fun fact, it's the same ticker as the original DAI, which there's no P. It's still called DAI. Okay, the P is just a verbal P that we use so that we are indicating that we're talking about the one that's not $1 yet, the one that's PulseChain DAI, Protein DAI, the People's DAI. Okay, so that's why we also call the other DAI that's on Ethereum, or the other DAI that's on PulseChain that's bridged in, which is at $1, we call it eDAI, as in Ethereum DAI. Simple. I hope that helped, by the way. But yeah, moving on to the next clip here. From Fearless Line, you know, I follow the guy. I like some of his tweets, but guys, he's emotional. I hope everything's good with him. But it's just a reminder. I'm sorry, brother. Like, yo, you're tweeting in public, so you know I am just sharing what you're tweeting. Okay, and he goes, "Who is the dumb mother flipper who continues to sell PDAI? We can't even hit 1 cent. You pioneers are effing idiots. Crazy." And shout out to Mike. He goes, "Just sell. You know, saves the trouble. You don't have to worry about PDAI anymore." And I don't want to speak to him only. Guys, a lot of people are changing their emotions so quickly. Like in 2 days, you'll see people change their profile pictures. You'll see people saying, yeah, I've been here from the start, you know. Future Heart is my guy, right? I was like, okay, fair enough. Yeah, maybe you started off as bullish and now you are bullish, but somewhere in the middle, you literally, you know what I mean? Like you were calling this space a scam. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys what will differentiate, because at the end of the day, when we reach those highs, the next all-time highs, everyone's gonna sound like they're an expert. Everyone's gonna sound like they've been here, they've been supporting Richard Hart's cause, they've been supporting PulseChain. I swear to God, guys, what will differentiate us from them is the buy prices. Okay? So just remember the people that like tightened up. Okay? And remember the people who are literally flipping on Richard Hart saying, ha ha ha, you know, he needs to be locked up. Or he's probably kidnapped. Like what? Crazy stuff. Oh no, he didn't beat the SEC. You know, trying to come up with some other reason. It's not that big of a flex. Like, come on, bro. You know, then what are you doing in PulseChain? If you genuinely don't like the founder and you're criticizing, you know, some of the choices with the core tokens and whatever, like, what are you doing here then? Genuinely, go do something productive. You know? I genuinely don't get it sometimes, guys. But I was going to say, you know, in terms of what's happening with the dumps, you know, shout out to Crypto Solve here. He goes, he just highlighting a wallet that I do have highlighted here, holding, you know, around 1 million plus in core tokens. Yeah, they were selling. So at least that was the reason for today's dump. So you can see here, waking up from an 18th month dormancy, and the wallet that ends in 1BA1 has dumped around 500k worth of Pulse and PulseX into XYZ. And they bridged some of it. You can kind of see it when you go here in the transactions. You can see that it was around 6 hours ago. Big shout out to Pulsefolio, by the way. Really great websites. Yeah, 7 hours ago. You can see bridging out and selling. Boom, 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 boom. Selling. Okay. So yeah, guys, you know, we have some disgruntled whales. Okay, and I'm not here going to say Bridge is perfect, because one of the things I would have changed is I would have had a cap of number of sacrifice per wallet, you know, or per, you know, somehow, yeah, per wallet. Try to limit it, because now you have whales who have sacrificed around, you know, millions. If I remember reading around, he originally sacrificed around 4 million, or maybe even 7. I don't know. It was between those two numbers. And it doesn't make sense to me, because they're selling when we're down like 75% from all-time high. You know, 1/5 or 1/4 of the sacrifice rate. So it's guaranteed that they're selling on a loss, which doesn't make sense to me. Which again goes back to what I said. Being a whale doesn't necessarily mean that you're a smart trader or a smart investor. Keep that in mind. We're going to move on. Okay, that could have been one of the reasons, or that is one of the reasons that we were probably dumped today. And of course now, because they sold, a lot of people are it's going to start a mini negative feedback loop, and a lot of people are going to start selling. We're like, oh my God, what's going on? And yes, it is a shakeout. I understand this is the 100th shakeout. Okay? But also understand that there's a delay between Ethereum pumping and PulseChain pumping. So check again in 24 or 48 hours. Check again. And then all of a sudden you'll forget this day because it's too noisy. We can't focus things on a short time frame. And big shout out to our friend Sami here. He goes, PulseChain Liberty Swap has been buying up PDAI. Dirty Crypto has been communicating with them, and we have the wallet shared. You can check. So yeah, this is the same Liberty Swap that was talking negatively about Sami, that was talking negatively about PDAI, if you guys remember, during the time of the 238 day. Do you remember? Right, with the zero launch and with the better bank hack, crazy stuff when PDAI also technically went to zero for a third time. They were talking crazy. Liberty Swap. They were. And now all of a sudden, they're like, oh, the badge, PDAI badge is great. Ha ha ha, let's buy PDAI. I'm telling you guys, there's some orchestration going on. Could this be the team? Because they mentioned they have 14 devs and 1 intern. Probably is the guy who's running the account, the 14 devs. Same clip from Richard Hart years ago. He speaks about having, he has 14 devs working on his blockchain and stuff. And then fast forward 2-3 years later, Liberty Swap shows up, claiming that, we've been building this bridge for a long time. We're finally coming out when they launched this year. And now they're saying, we have 14 devs. Not including the intern, the 15th team member. Crazy. Wow. Really crazy stuff. Guys, listen, I'm going to end the video there with a big shout out to the YouTube members who are choosing to support what I do, my small channel, who want me to continue doing what I do. And a big shout out to the 2 highlighted comments here from Hexagon Michelle saying PulseChain to the moon. Thank you. And from Rusty Games 777, loving the amount of videos. Again, apologies, I didn't make a video yesterday. I went bouldering, actually. I'm not the best at bouldering, but it was a nice sport. And I'm a little bit under the weather. You guys can probably tell by watching this video. But thank you very much for, genuinely, I want to say thank you for watching this whole video till the end. You've proved to me that you don't use TikTok. Guys, I'm actually really excited for PulseChain. Unfortunately, I had to bait you guys with a title, right? What's wrong with PulseChain? You watched the video. I've just told you what's right with PulseChain. The unique selling point, Liberty Swap, playing orchestrations, right? Altcoins are nowhere near their top. So plenty of time for you to learn about PulseChain. Sacrifice funds. We're the top 5 Ethereum strategic reserves. We hold more Ethereum than Coinbase, guys. Than Coinbase. And Richard Hart is up 50, maybe even 100 million by now in his trade. So we are truly a leverage of Ethereum success by actual definition. I'm going to end the video there. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm looking forward to for my next video. We're going to talk more about Bitcoin and a bunch of other things in terms of global macroeconomics. What does it actually mean for the US government? But it's really exciting stuff. Really, it's exciting stuff, guys. Continue believing. Big shout out to the man above. I'll see you guys later. Trusting the process, trusting God.